אנו מקשר עצמנו לכל הצדיקים מתים שבדונו לכל הצדיקים מתים שוכני עפר קדושים אשר בארץ הם. ויפרתם לנו הקדוש צדיק יסוד עולם נחן ובמקור חומן בנחמן ותגן עליך נחמן ויומן. זכותם תגן עלינו הכל ישראל. Amen. I think it's page 341. What are
we doing? Shavuot?
Hilchot Shavuot. Nice. We're going to study it with the introduction from, this Torah is basically, this halakha is basically on Torah 13. And Rebbe Nathan is going to expand on this Torah and implement Shavuot and the inyanim of Shavuot on this Torah 13, which discusses amazing things about breaking your desire for money and all these things, which are very, very deep, but we're going to see. But we're going to explain the Torah, which is the first paragraph, very, very simply, piece by piece. And B'ezrat Hashem, we're going to get the main ideas. So, yeah. Okay. So, you guys see the Haklal? Halacha Aleph, Shavuot?
Yeah.
So, Inyan Shavuot, Shehu Kabbalat Torah, Al Pi HaMa'amar Ashrei Ha'am Hashkacha. So, the idea of Shavuot, which is the receiving of the Torah, based upon the Torah 13, which is Ashrei Ha'am, happy is the nation, Hashkacha, Shlema, and all this idea about drawing down divine providence. So he's going to explain this Torah. No, the principle is to draw down Hashkacha into the world. Hashkacha Shlema, complete providence, which means God is basically designing, he's planning everything for you himself, without there being intermediaries, or specifically the intermediary of nature. And get that down, because nature is God, but it's a disguise. It's like the 6 days of the week, we say according to the Torah Kadosh, that Metat is the one ruling the world, ruling, so to speak, obviously by God's permission. And on the day of Shabbat himself, God himself rules. So during the week, we see the 6 days of the week, Metat, the Sarapanim, the angel Metat, who was initially Chanoch, who was taken alive and made this big angel.
Well, can you run that part back?
Yeah, so Metat was initially a human being.
Metat is what, the demon?
No, very holy angel, one of the highest angels. So Metat Sarapanim, if you actually take a look at Metat Sarapanim, Rabeinu explains, Metat Sarapanim. Metat is not his full name, by the way. I'm cutting in half because we don't say the names of angels that we don't name after people and stuff like that. So Metat Sarapanim, which is like the officer of faces. Hapanim, like he's like literally the man in charge, the angel in charge. Rashi Tevot, the first letters spell out Moshe. Metat Sarapanim. So high was Moshe, he didn't allow Metat to be the intermediary between Bnei Israel and Hashem. Moshe told Hashem,
no need. I
don't want Metat to be like to speak for Bnei Israel, like for you to speak to Bnei Israel between Metat, like as an intermediary with Metat. He said, if that happens, then there's no point for me to be here.
Metat is the one Elisha ben Avuya saw?
Yeah.
On the chair?
Yeah.
What's the demon that also starts with a mem? There's a name.
You think it's Samech?
Maybe.
Samakel?
Yeah. Oh.
So we don't say the name, but that's basically the Satan. That's the Satan. We call it the Samech Mem. Samech Mem.
Oh, Samech.
I heard a crazy word on it. I'll tell you after.
So, you want to say it now? Go for it.
I can't remember. That's why perhaps per se.
So, what did it say in the Gemara? You can't compare one who studies 100 times to a person who studies 101 times. You know what the Arizal says is the soul behind this? Because Samech Mem is Gematria 100. But the second you study something 101 times, it's out of the grasp of the Satan. So that's why Rebbe Nathan always says you have to review your works 100 times.
That specific
101 times.
101 specifically?
He said you cannot compare someone who studies a Torah 100 times versus someone who studies 101 times.
That's crazy.
The Gemara explains. I don't know the words in Hebrew, but that's the gist of it.
Wow.
But it's amazing. Samech Mem is Gematria 100, and the second you get to 101, you go into the aspect of memory, not forgetfulness, not the Satan.
What about Lili?
Lili is the wife of Samech Mem.
What's the Gematria?
485, I believe. But that's the same Gematria as Tehillim.
Oh.
Rabbi Nachman explains. That's why he says the 10 Tehillim, which is Tikkun HaKlali, is a reparation against Lili. Meaning the sod, the secret to how to repair Lili, the female angel that causes men to sin sexually and whatever it is through Teilim. So if you see Lili, I think it's Gematria 480, and Teilim is 485. But Lili has 5 letters. So you add the 5 letters. 485, 485. So, what do we see? What were we talking about earlier? Metat. Metat was initially a human being by the name of Chanoch. Chanoch was 6 generations after Adam, and he's the one who buried Adam HaRishon.
He's a tzadik, no?
Big time tzadik. It says Hashem saw that he would sin later, so he took him before. And he made him Metat. Metat Sarapani. Now, Metat is a very big angel. There's many stories in the Zohar that talk about Metat and stuff like this. But Metat is the main man, the main angel up there. So, it talks about this inyan that we were just saying. Metat rules the 6 days of the week. Hashem is the one who really himself brings down divine providence. So, for the Goyim, it's explained in this Torah. I'm not going to explain all this because I might explain it later. It's going to explain it later, so I'll leave it be. But basically, the Jewish people have a different type of providence than the Goyim do. We're going to explain how. What's providence?
The Goyim have their mazals through the stars, and then we get ours.
We can go above.
We can go right through.
Yeah. But we're also dictated by the stars. Only by tefillah we can go above it. By prayer.
What do you mean dictated by the stars?
The mazalot. There's things. We know some mazalot.
Stars?
It's constellations. Like, you're born on whatever. There's different. There's angels. There's angels. We say the mazalot and the.
Real?
Zodiac signs?
Yeah.
Real?
It's very much in the Torah.
Right.
Yeah. Big time. There's different. Your parnasa. You know what it's. Your parnasa is dependent upon your mazal.
But mazal is what's the definition? Like mazal is like your mazal.
Constellation. Yeah, but it's basically an angel. You know that.
But I don't believe in that though. Does
Why?
that make sense?
Of course,
I just
you have
believe
to.
that. No, I believe that my mazal can change. Like
Only through tefillah.
right, if my zodiac sign is like, let's say Chaz v'Shalom, like it's like not good for panasa. I don't believe in that.
You can change it. You can change it. That's why
I believe I
tefillah
can change it. Yeah.
with tefillah. But it's saying parnasa b'mazal atalia. We say that it's dependent upon the mazal. Parnasa up there, they determine how much you're gonna make.
What's Gemini?
Isn't that a free will problem, though?
No,
Free
you
will
don't.
problem?
It's not specific to that. It's the day you're born. The neshama.
fine.
Hashem decides immediately.
How do we reconcile free will with it?
That's for a different class.
Is it too much? We can do it later.
No, I don't know how to answer that
Good question.
because the idea of free will, no one can understand in this world.
It's like time.
Rabbi Nachman just said you understand you have the power to choose. You can do or you can't do. That's it.
It's like time.
Do we understand anything? Not really. Because it seems like sometimes things are already destined from above. But by the way, guys, with prayer you can change anything. You can change anything with prayer. So, what are we talking about? No, that to draw down hashgacha shlema, perfect providence, divine providence, meaning that you can see Hashem in everything that you do, or that Hashem is constantly being involved with your life. He's doing everything himself. If you got a better definition, it's divine providence, right? Providence. I don't know how to define providence, really. I think it's
Pretty much problems.
okay. How to do that? To destroy your desire for money. Very amazing. How do you break your desire for money? Tzedakah. By the way, these are a lot of ideas right now because this is the lesson just summarized in a paragraph. So, what's he saying? Because whenever you destroy your desire for money by giving tzedakah, you break your desire for money and you sweeten the judgments. And you draw down chesed into the world. And it becomes revealed. Chesed becomes revealed and judgment doesn't. You remove judgment and you bring down chesed. Which is the aspect of Mashiach, the building of the temple, and you draw down da'at. Because what do we say? A person who has da'at, in the Gemara it says, it's as if he built a Beit HaMikdash. So all the people, all the tzaddikim who really have da'at, it's as if they're building the Beit HaMikdash.
But definition of that is just like having chesed and gvura like together.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. That is the middle between chesed and gvura, right? Unless that is really an awareness of Hashem, that Hashem is hakol
So
tova.
only tzaddikim have that.
In lesson 4, he explains how to do it. You can do it.
Who's some examples of that who we knew has had that?
Rabeinu.
Obviously.
Who else you're saying?
Yeah.
That. What's the inyan of that?
Maybe,
Maybe you can give me a person.
Hidden tzaddikim, I'm sure.
Yeah, a lot of people can attain that. It's not a lot of people. It's getting to the point where your emunah is so big. Not your emunah, I don't know what it is. But your understanding that whether it's deen or whether it's rachamim, everything is good. Everything that happens to you, whether it's a sick person passing away, chas v'shalom, in whatever it is, or whether it's the business deal that you just got, everything is perfectly good from Hashem. And you believe that nothing could be better.
You think David had that because he was the one that wanted to put the Beit HaMikdash so bad?
1000%. 1000%. David, yeah. I mean, David is David HaMelech, you know? Everything he accepted from Hashem. We see how much suffering he had to go through.
Even Ger is a good example.
Yeah. Saba Yisrael is an amazing example. Rabbi Yisrael over the Ser. Everything you went through is complete suffering. Said he even suffered more than Rebbe Nathan. But accepted with a smile. You see his videos. This is why I encourage so many times to watch his videos, because you see the way he speaks, his mesirut nefesh, the way he gives up his soul for it, and his simplicity in just being able to spread the Torah of Rabeinu. It's complete pshitut, complete timimut, but so sincere. It's purely emet, from the heart. You can't. There's no going around it. It's so deep within. He's not sharing something that he thinks cute. It's his life. He lives by it. He breathes it. And I think he's an amazing example, being that he suffered so much, and yet even with his suffering, he has a smile on his face. That's emunah, right? It's the inyan of that. Maybe if you, Ari, you want to get a Likutei Moharan, and maybe we can. Lesson 4. Sorry, because I know in the lesson 4, it talks about that, right, Eric? I think we studied this with the inyan of Moshe Rabeinu passing away. He didn't remember, he passed away at Mincha of Shabbat.
So what, with that, he achieved full doubt because he became one with the
Ein Sof.
Ein Sof.
Yeah, it talks about that. Being that you're so involved with Hashem, you understand that it's all the plan, yeah. It's all the plan of God. Everything's
good and beneficial, that's lesson 4.
Yeah. Everything is for the best. That's that. What's up? Yeah. Perfect. Lesson 4. But let's see, I might have just turned to it.
You doing this? I think so.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it talks a lot about Amma. Okay.
Take it.
Okay, let's see. Talks about that here. What's that? כשאדם יודע שכל מאורותיו הם לטובתו, זאת בחינת היא מעין עולם הבא. Know that when a person knows that everything that happens to him is for the best, this is tasting Olam Haba. Because Olam Haba is the idea that there's no difference between Yud Ke Vav Ke and Elokim. There's no difference between the name of mercy and the name of judgment. It's all one. That's why we say in Alenu, Ki Hashem Hu Elokim. Hashem, Yud Ke Vav Ke, is Elokim. It's the same idea. Don't make a difference. And when you believe that, then by default you taste Olam Haba. So what do we say? I think there's the halacha that... I don't know. I don't want to say it, actually. I don't know. About someone passing away, I remember something. Maybe, I don't know. About you having to say Baruch Hashem or something. You have to say Baruch Dayan Emet, right? Bless the truthful judge. But there's an inyan also of saying something. Hatov Yametiv, I think. I don't know. I have no idea. Forget, scratch that.
Put it on hold.
Put it on hold. Hopefully, maybe I can get it. But this is the inyan. When you know all this, this is called true yediyah, true knowledge. Because what's the essence of that? When you bring the unity of chesed and gvura together. Judgment and rachamim, mercy. So that you don't separate between chesed and din. So what do we see here? Whenever you break your desire for money and you give tzedakah, you're able to draw down chesed into the world, right? And you sweeten the judgments. What's this idea? You bring down the Mashiach, you bring down the holy temple, and you bring down that, because the essence of the temple is that. As we say, one who has that, it's as if he built a temple in his days. And with this, you're able to bring down, reveal a new Torah in the world. Because with that, whenever you have this aspect of da'at, knowledge, which is much harder than we think. It's not just knowledge, it's a spiritual type of thing that we don't really understand. What are you able to do? You're able to gather, to take the souls, which are the aspect of the wise man can take souls. As it says in the pasuk, the one who's able to take souls is wise. So we see that to be able to do this, to bring the neshamot together and to do reparations on them, you have to have that. You have to be a chacham. And then what did it say? The city of stronghold, Allah Chacham, the man rose, he ascended. The wise man ascended. Vayored od miftecha, and he brought down the strength in miftecha, like something, it's guaranteed, like it's trust. Something in the idea, basically, that he's able to bring down Torah and hashkacha. It's going to explain.
It brings down the power of a belief, no? It's like a certain aspect of emunah or something different.
Oz is strength.
Right.
Miftecha is trusting.
Like the trust, is it different from emunah? Like I'm asking, I don't know.
I don't know if it's referring necessarily to almost this idea of bitachon. Might be referring to something that, this strong thing in which he trusts. Meaning the Oz is the main part of the sentence, being that he's bringing down this inyan of Oz. I think we call the Torah Oz, strong. I think so.
Migdal Oz, I've heard that before. So
Migdal Oz also. Oh yeah, it's good also. So, what's he bring down? He's bringing down something. What did it say? Whenever he does this, he takes the souls and he brings them down. He's able to bring down hashgacha shlema, divine providence. Because the Torah is the aspect, and what's this idea of the hashgacha shlema? The Torah we're going to explain. Because what's the Torah? It's the aspect of sight. Why? Because what is in the eye? We say there's 3 colors of the eye and the pupil. According to the Zohar Kadosh. The 3 colors of the eye and the pupil. And with this that we're close to the Torah, which is called the eye, because we say how many aspects of the Torah are there? 4. Just like those 3 colors of the eye and the pupil, the 4th part. The Torah has 4 parts. Ta'amim, the song. Nekudot, the vowels at the bottom. Tagin, the crowns, and Otiot, the letters. These 4 aspects represent the 4 elements of the Torah, which represent the 4 colors of the eye. So you see, what?
You say there's 3?
3 colors of the eye plus the pupil.
Okay.
So what do we see? The Torah is representing an eye, sight. And because we're close to the Torah, then we're close to the sight. What did that mean? How does the sight have to do with hashgacha shlema, providence? This is beautiful. What's this? The strength of your sight. What did that mean? Whenever you want to see something, my vision strikes an object. But what happens? It's the striking of the object that's able to reflect back that image to me. Meaning once I hit the object I'm looking at, that image reflects back into my eye and now it projects an image. It's
crazy because that's psychologically right. I learned about it, meaning that the way you see is that when you see something, the light reflects off your eye and then the image is projected to your brain. That's exactly what you just said. You see it, and it comes actually to you. The light's reflected in your eye or whatever.
There's a shot and then it's like a ricochet in a sense. But, for example, if you're very far from something, you try to see it. Why is it not good? Why is it blurry?
It's too far for your eye to catch it.
Exactly. There's lots of air in between. There's lots of distance. So the striking of the object isn't that strong. But when you strike an object and it returns, the closer it is, obviously, the stronger the image's reflection because you're closer to the object. So what's he saying? When you're close to the Torah, which is the eye, look what he's about to say. So whenever you strike an object, it returns and it becomes pictured in your eye. This is providence. What's the idea? When we're close to the Torah, which is basically the inyan of Hashem, the object of Hashem, then what happens? It's as if it were striking Hashem and Hashem is striking back. Only for close though, but if it's very far, then the Torah becomes blurred. So Hashem's hashgacha, Hashem's providence over us isn't as clear. It's as if he's going to have to guide himself through different means, through nature, through logic, through reason, something which isn't above that. Because if you're not close to the Torah, you're not close to the source of Hashem. So if your eyes on the Torah, if you're close to the Torah, which Rabeinu said is the Torah of the tzadik, when you're close to the Torah of the tzadik, and you are in it, and you study it, and you're involved within it, just like I see this book right now before me, this is very clear. If I'm like this with the Torah, Hashem's hashgacha, the divine providence that's going to descend is going to be very strong. You're going to be able to see God as if you're going to see like a glass of water before you. But the further you are from the Torah, the harder it is to see divine providence. The divine providence doesn't descend.
It's like the Nevuah level. Like, what is it? It's the lower you are in Nevuah is like the more distances between you and the Shekhinah. We talked about this, how who's like one of the later Nevi'im, like the one that we use all the time because he was a lower level in Nevuah. Right, and then we get a better view of the spheroids, what they look like, because his vision shows the spheroids because he's on one of the lower levels of spheroid. You know, like the farther you go away from it, is like the less you could see like the goal. You could see everything in between.
Exactly. So the closer you are to the Torah, which is the eye of Hashem, because we said the Torah has 4 types, which is the 4 colors of the eye. Once you're close to the eye of Hashem, Hashem's eye strikes back. That's the beauty. It's that there's a striking of an image and there's a reflection. So really, it's God looking at us. It's not really us looking at it. My bad. Take away what I said with regard to me looking at, like me striking the Torah or something. It's actually Hashem strikes an object. He strikes you. If you're close to the Torah, or he strikes the Torah because the Torah is the eye, right? He strikes you, or I don't know, okay? He strikes a person, right? He strikes you, Kalev. If you're close to the Torah, you get pictured in his eye very clearly. If not, it becomes blurred. So the hashgacha is affected by that. This is the way God's eye works, so to speak. What did he say? But the goyim who are far from the Torah, their providence is only half sight. It's not full. Because the striking of the object isn't there. They're far from the actual object. They're far from the essence of what they're supposed to be close to. They're far from the Torah. So if they're far from the Torah, then they're far from God's sight. And because they're far from God's sight, it's only half sight. It's not even clear. Rabeinu goes on to explain this is the rectification of the upper chariot and the lower chariot. He explains basically...
There's 2 aspects of Masamar Gov.
Upper chariot is the aspect that the tzadik brings the souls and ascends them up there. Lower chariot is how he brings them down. There's 2 aspects.
So upper is what?
He brings the souls. The tzaddik, he includes all the neshamot of Am Yisrael. He takes the souls up to Hashem. Up there, he does some sort of ibur, what we call a pregnancy, a renewal. He renews the soul and brings it down with the Torah. As we explained earlier, the tzaddik is able to take the soul. The wise man takes the souls and he brings down the hashgacha shlema, Torah. A new Torah. The Torah of the Mashiach, he says. So, when the tzaddik does this, because he broke his desire for money by giving tzedakah and doing all these things that we talked about earlier, he's able to do tikkun mechafta ilah. He's able to do the upper chariot, the rectification of the upper chariot, meaning to ascend the souls, and to bring them up, and also to bring them down, renewed completely, with the Torah to illuminate them. Did that make sense? It's a little all over the place, but you guys can get the idea. These are the aspects of the 2. Look at the sod of the tefillin. Rabeinu explains the secret of tefillin. You know, on tefillin you have 2 types of, 2 types of shins on the tefillin, on the head. You have a shin with 3 crowns and a shin with 4 spikes. He say this is explaining these 2 types of sichliot, these 2 types of wisdom that tzaddik has to have to renew the souls, meaning to bring it up, which is the first one, the 3, and to bring it down, which is the 4. That's the 2 tefillin. So if you wear tefillin with his kavanah, the tzaddik is able to renew your soul with his kavanah, because that's the entire kavanah of the shins. It's very deep. So what did he say?
The 2 shins represent the 4 parts of the Torah.
Tikkun mekafta ilah, V'tikuna demakafta etata.
So Rashi and Rabeinu Tam each represent something different. Do you know which one represents which?
I'm sure Rabeinu Nathan. I don't know. I don't know if they have to do with this inyan.
Probably Rashi the more important. Not
Rabeinu
Rabeinu Tam is higher than
Well,
Rashi.
why do we all go Rashi then?
Rashi is the fundamental thing. It's the fundamental. There's lots of Mekubalim that explain that Rashi is actually corresponding to the wife. Rabeinu Tam corresponds to the man. That's why the wife is passive. So when you wear Rashi, according to the Mekubalim, they sit down. When you wear Rabeinu Tam, or whenever you put on the head represents the man also. So you put on the head, you get up, because the man is action. And Rabeinu Tam is this inyan also. It's this idea of the man and the woman. So Rabeinu Tam represents. I don't know. There's lots of inyanim with it. Rabeinu Tam represents Abba. Rashi represents Ima. There's very deep things with it that I don't comprehend whatsoever.
Shefa comes on.
Yeah. Whenever you put them together, it's like you're putting the man and the wife together, and it brings down Shefa, the
What
kid.
if you put them what if you switch them to Asher?
Yeah. Very good. Very good. That's the ikar. It's the inyan of chibur. You're joining them together.
You're not putting them together though.
Look, Rabeinu, according emet, you want to talk about emet, right? There's two types. There's emet and there's emet amito. The emet, according to the Mekubalim, according to the Kabbalah, according to the Ari HaKadosh, if you don't put them together, you're missing something. You're missing this chibur of Abba and Ima. It's like, halachically, you're causing a get between the man and the wife.
Okay. In general, we all are, whoever doesn't have Rabeinu Tam.
Technically. But, emet lamito, no.
Fine.
Pshitut, tmimut, simplicity. Even I'd go as far to say, better not even do that. Because it brings a lot of gaba. And I'm speaking from experience also.
Bro, I'm hard trying to put it on one pair of tefillin. It's not added second.
No, you know how hard it is to imagine putting it on a plane, already putting tefillin on a plane, but imagine putting Rabeinu Tam after.
No, but much about the small ones. We have two small ones. It's not that big of a deal.
I'm saying he puts on
Not
at the
even
same
that.
time.
But יש הרבה גאווה בזה.
I feel
התפארות.
Maybe that's why people think I'm married.
That too. Yeah, maybe. The truth is, coming to the tzadik is a very big reparation.
I don't have an ounce of
I
doubt.
asked my dad when can I put thing? He's like,
Rabeinu
I was
Tam?
asking because he wears it. He's like,
He wears Rabeinu Tam, your dad?
yeah.
Does he wear two at the same time?
He has the small ones, but he has his
He does the second one at one point.
The ikar is pshitut.
Yeah, he doesn't have. I'm like, what can I put in? He's like, just wait for your. You say it's better.
Do you already have Rabeinu Tam? No one?
You can,
Me?
you can.
No, I don't have my Rabeinu Tam.
Dude,
I tell you-
fly when they get married.
I tell you, Rebbe Nathan, I would very much advise getting a pair. Rebbe Nathan explains that,
ASAP?
yeah. This is Rebbe Nathan, I'm not, God forbid, trying to say anything. Rebbe Nathan explains that this is mochin de galut, mochin de katmut.
Wait.
Speaking of the...
The expanded consciousness and the constricted one. Rabeinu Tam is a level extremely beyond. And because, what do we say? You know what Rabeinu says? What's the name of the Yetzirah today? The Koach HaMedameh, the strength of the imagination. Because the Rabeinu Tam is such a strong holy sechel, it's such a strong level of Kedusha with regard to the Moach. Putting that on repairs the hihorim, the bad thoughts you
You
get
know
up
what
there.
else I like the idea of putting on the talit, on the thing where you put over it, the nana.
Yeah. Oh
I
wow.
want to put that so badly on my talit.
You're talking about on like the actual.
Yeah, you know your brother has
Yeah,
that.
his brother has
Like one of them. I
Yeah.
want that on my talit.
On the white one, it also has.
Rabeinu Tam.
Yeah, it's in blue. I want that exact one.
It's nice.
I then just want that on my head, so you can put it it's better.
Yeah.
They do it in Uman?
There's people that get custom
Oh,
talitot.
do they do it? Where did you run?
You have an Anach Nachman Nachman Uman on your head right now.
I know, but flip the camera from.
You want it?
No. I'm saying, where did your brother get it from? From Israel?
He custom made it. He went to like some tailor or something and they stitched it.
On his
Talit. But you could get a talit for like, if you guys want to spend on a nice talit, yeah, you can, I don't know, you could go to someone special, they like sew it with like blue thread.
I don't. The only thing is the ha'esheri, I want it white and I don't want the whole teddy blue, you know. I want
Yeah.
white on white, then the hasheni different color, but
They
not
have
the
that.
stripes and stuff.
They have that.
You do?
They might, yeah, I think so.
Did
I don't
they
know.
update their collection?
I have no idea. But you can get many different places, by the way.
There's a website.
Really?
I'm sure.
I need to find a different one.
But
You ever heard the idea that the Torah was made of like black and white fire or whatever?
yeah.
So my great grandfather said, Rabeinu, when my dad got a talit, he said he had to wear black and white because of that idea, but I didn't know what it meant at the time. Like I learned it inside with Rabeinu. I don't remember where.
Rabeinu speaks about it, right?
But when I learned about it, I was stunned because I never seen it inside. He quoted it somewhere.
But it's more of like an Ashkenaz thing,
Yeah,
right?
no, Ashkenaz wear black and white.
So why do Spartan wear all white?
No idea. I'm sure you guys have a very long concept.
What?
They always just wear all white.
Yeah. I don't know, honestly.
I
But
think the black and white's like a chesed gvura type of play, no? Because you have both.
You want this one?
I don't know about that. That's like a cape.
yeah.
I didn't know what that is.
Yeah, it's a little much. But
Get a red one.
but what's the inyan here?
Red.
When
Say that.
guys, invest in a pair of Rebbe Nathan. Watch your avodat Hashem.
Is it better than
start
like
flying.
you just put on Ashrei? It's better than nothing, no? Like if you get Rabeinu.
Alright, send me the website, please.
What do you mean?
100%, right?
Oh, yeah,
Well, I'm saying, what do you do? Like I don't know how
Yeah,
long it works. You say the whole davening with Rashi, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not putting
Oh,
two.
wow.
I think it's after Uvat Ari. When do you do it? After Uvat Tion or before Ashrei?
Before Ashley.
Before Ashrei?
Do you say a bracha? You don't say a bracha? No bracha at all. And then you put it on, and then you say the rest of the
Finish
davening,
it.
you're good?
No bracha.
With the thing. I'll tell you.
You want a black and white one? Go ahead.
The
That's
big-
super
Let me
cool.
see. Wow.
The big Breslover Hasidim back then, they didn't wear two at the same time. Rebbe Nathan said at the Breslover custom, Rebbe Nathan since for mitzvah.
Right.
That's it. Only Rabeinu Tam.
No, Rashi Rebbe Nathan.
Oh, same.
Started off with Rashi and yeah,
They didn't wear it at the same time.
that wasn't no. The Sofrim back then, I don't know if they were that. Yeah, like like small writing. It's very special, but I will say, Bipshitut, try to avoid as much gava as possible. And I didn't understand that when getting mine. You see what I'm saying? Like when it wasn't in Rabeinu at the time. But when you come to Rabeinu, you start to realize certain things that can help you in your avodat Hashem. Sometimes means doing less and not doing things in the public eye.
I feel like getting like a talit.
What?
For me, it's like a little.
Yeah?
It's a little what?
For me personally.
It's nice. You're beautifying the mitzvah also, though.
For like a nice event, it would be good.
Save it for your wedding.
B'ezrat Hashem, b'ezrat Hashem.
Hush.
It is what it is. But better spend money on a beautiful talit,
No, for
to beautify the mitzvah, than a lot of the things we do spend money on also. But I will say, Rabeinu Tam, there's no gava b'zeh anymore.
A couple of talits.
With Rabeinu Tam, there's no more gava really in this.
Yeah.
Putting on the same time, that might be. But Rabeinu Tam, everyone wears Rabeinu Tam now.
I still think like even putting it on the same time, I don't think it's because like your real motivation is not for everyone to look at you.
Yes, and
Maybe-
deep down
even if
though,
it's-
there is a
even
lot.
if it's still there, everyone has gava for doing anything.
You're right, but
If
this, yeah, there's more
Because
gava.
technically, if you say that you shouldn't have gava, then no one should be chazan nowadays. You know how many people get gava from doing chazan?
You're right. You're right.
Even a little bit, like
You have to pray for this.
you know how hard it is to not have gava when you do chazan, bro. Like
You're right. You have to pray for it.
yeah.
Hashem will guide.
Stand with
Man.
line.
So what do we say? What's the two shins on the top of the tefillin? Represent these two types of wisdom of how to ascend the souls. What did we say earlier? Ir Giborim Alachacham, the city of stronghold, the tzadik ascends. What's he doing? He's ascending all the neshamot. He's bringing all the neshamot, all the retzonot tovot, all the good wills that each and every one of us have to do mitzvot Torah, to do masim tovim, do good actions and all these things, all the good desires that we have. The tzaddik brings all of those things up there, spins them around and does his magic. And what did it say in the end of the pasuk? Vayored oz miftecha. He descends and he the strength with the miftecha, like in which he trusts.
You know, it was like a big chidush. I remember for me, like Yeshayahu was saying how I mean, I think this is what he was saying. How you know how Hashem appointed like Metat to run the world, like up there and like here, right, basically. Then he says like we need someone to run like our world too, right? So that's why he appointed like Rabbi Nathan to do it, which makes sense. Isn't that crazy?
Yes, tzaddikim. Before Rabeinu with Rabbi Shimon and
Right,
Baal
it's,
Shem Tov and-
it's just so cool. It was like it's a good
definitely,
inyan. It's a
Definitely.
Cool inyan.
yeah, definitely.
Metat runs the world on a day-to-day. What does that mean?
Meaning he's the We say
It's
Hashem,
like the
Yoshev
manager.
Mzavek Zibugim.
He's like the manager.
Yeah, it's exactly that. There's the owner of the entire operation.
Hashem's like
That
the
comes up in
CEO.
mind,
Then you have the manager. Then you have like, wait, is Rabbi Nachman's on top of manager? He's like CFO.
Rabeinu said, I know all the 24 courts up there. Remember we talked about this in Sichot Haran?
Yeah.
That I'm the only one that knows the 24 courts, because to know this, you have to understand the secret of the Azazel on Yom Kippur, which no one understood. But he said, I know all the 24 courts, and if I don't like a judgment in which a person is being judged up there, I can go from court to court and lessen the judgment. And if I still don't like the judgment by the last court, I go to the king himself.
Wow.
Meaning, he says, I surpass all the angels. Remember we were talking about with Yeshayahu? What's the first Torah of Tinyana, the second book? The first Torah. What's the first Torah of the second book of Likutei Moharan? Ki ish ha'Yisraeli nivra shiye lo memshala ala malachim. Why was a Jew created? So that he can have ruling over the angels.
That's crazy.
What? Tiku memshala, the Torah is called. Now what? This is the end and the purpose of all Yisrael, that they can rule over the angels.
That's the whole idea of what do you call it? Like why we got the Torah, not the angels, because we can make use of it. We have the ability to go above.
Above, yeah.
They don't have the ability to go above. They only have the ability to stay in place.
So even metat can't ascend to the level where Rabeinu can.
Because like the humans like a complete bal teshuva. I mean they're like what? Because angels
Or stagnant.
born or whatever. They stay in the same place from the beginning to their end. There's no end to them always.
There's no end.
Whatever
Definitely.
it means. Like a human's born from freaking
Yeah. Yeah.
from afar.
It's amazing how it works.
Afar.
So what did he say? Ki yesh sechel shel b'chinat lekichat hanefashot, because he says,
I don't know from that.
what are the two
That's
intellects?
interesting.
What are the two intellects? The two sheens.
Chazak.
Shin represents sechel, by the way. So what are the two intellects of the tefillin? There's the intellect of being able to gather the nefashot, to draw them together, and to bring them right. And the second one is to ascend them. There's one gathering, and there's the one ascension and bringing down the Torah. שהם בחינת שין של 3 ראשים ושין של 4 ראשים. עיין שם כל זה היטב. So he's saying these are the two shins on the tefillin. Now we get into the Shavuot. So if you guys want to look at the Likutei Halachot, this is Aleph.
That was the intro?
That was the lesson 13. Now, understanding the background information, we're going to go into Shavuot now, which Rebbe Nathan is going to explain all these chidushim. Did anyone want to read? Ari?
Kalev, you shouldn't have volunteered.
I don't want to call volunteering.
You want to read?
I really don't.
He really does.
Who wants to read?
Go.
Eric? Ari?
Nah, I want to pass it to Kalev.
Yosef?
And now we need Moshe.
Oh wow, okay. וזה בחינת שבועות שנקרא עצרת. This is all the aspect of Shavuot, which is called עצרת. Stop. Knishu v'asefa. What's knishu v'asefa? I think it means to collect and gather. I think. היינו בחינת שלוקח ומאסף הנפשות. It's exactly that. Meaning what? The tzadik who gathers, who takes, and he gathers all the nefashot we talked about. Because when he breaks his desire for money, he breaks his desire for money by giving tzedakah and by drawing down hashgacha shlema and all these things, and he sweetens judgment and he brings down chesed, the binyan habayit, the bet hamikdash, all these things, the Torah of the Mashiach. When he does this, he's doing this aspect of gathering and collecting the neshamot. That whenever he gathered and collected the neshamot, with this is made what? Shavuot. Now when he does that, he creates Shavuot, which is what? Kabbalat Torah, the receiving of the Torah.
When he harvests all the neshamot?
All the neshamot, yeah.
Wow, why does that make Kabbalat Torah?
Let's see.
Through Sfirat
Um,
Because harvesting?
No.
Like, I don't...
What did we say? Ala Giborim, Ir Giborim ala Chacham, the city of stronghold, the wise man ascends. What did he bring down? The Torah. What did we say? When the tzaddik gathers the neshamot, he does an ibur up there. He renews the neshamot, all the good wills that we have, all the good desires. When we come to Rabeinu, what does he do? All the nekudot tovot that we have, all the good points that we have, he brings them up there. He renews our neshama completely. He does tikkun. He does the tikkun of the merkava on our neshama, which is not normal. Because he says, the only person who can do tikkun to the Merkava, can do this inyan of ascending the Merkava, which is the highest form of Kabbalah, which we say Rabbi Akiva did, the four Ramanim did in the Gemara, and which we say Yechezkel's vision is, right, Torah Vav, which speaks about Yechezkel's vision, a man sitting on the chair, the stone below his feet, the sapphire stone, all this stuff. That's a vision of Maaseh Merkava. The tzadik, though, what did Rabeinu say in Likutei Moharan? If you're not completely separated and removed from every tava in the world, you cannot do it. He said, even if you're separated from every tava, and in one tava you have a thread of a hair that you're still involved in, a thread. Like, take one hair of your thing, a thread in it, you cannot do this.
So it comes to a point where they find these tavot disgusting to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Rabeinu said so far that being with a woman is more painful than circumcision, than Brit Milah. Because he's so far removed from Gashmiut, from physicality. It's so hard to go down to that level of physicality, to the point where he says that even the kid himself, hey Dan, what's up? Even the kid that's being circumcised isn't aware that he's being circumcised, so it's not as painful, but the tzaddik is completely aware of what's going on. So then we're explaining lesson 13 in Shavuot and Likutei Halachot, which talks about this idea that the tzaddik, he's able to collect all the neshamot of Am Yisrael, do the tikkun of the Merkava on them, to ascend them up through the Sfirot and to the worlds, renew their souls, and bring down the Torah of the Mashiach with them, with the souls, and completely renew them.
Is that in order for the tefillot, for our tefillot to be answered?
No, this is just for the inyan of drawing down Hashgacha Shlema.
What's Hashgacha Shlema?
Divine providence.
For that person.
The tzaddik draws down divine providence with this idea that he goes up, he renews the souls, and brings down a divine providence, a Torah.
That.
Exactly that. It's exactly that. It's exactly that. The Mashiach.
That can only happen by going to the
only person who can do this is tzaddik. Look how amazing. Look what Rabeinu says. Look at the language in lesson 13. It's the most unbelievable. When I read this, I said this is one of my favorite lessons.
Do you have to ask him
to do it?
Yeah. Like
Just the fact about being there, he does it.
It's like a pre.
Look what he says. Look how amazing this is.
That's why you want people to go there for Shavuot?
Yeah. Rebbe Nathan is going to explain the sod of collecting the neshamot. Because what's the Torah? We say Moshe Rabeinu was the father of Am Yisrael, right? He did that for all of them. When they receive the Torah, how could they receive the Torah? How can they get this close to Hashem? How can they receive the Torah, the revelation, the Mashiach? How can they receive that?
Maybe going on Rosh Hashanah encompasses all three of them, which is the highest one.
Rosh Hashanah is a different inyan, completely encompasses everything. Shavuot, though, is specific to the inyan that he's doing right now, which is rectifying the neshamot by bringing them up in this form of Kabbalah called the Chariot.
That's a crazy thing.
Ascending the world and then. But look at this. Look at the language. It's unbelievable. Look what he writes. Peresh Rabeinu Shmuel, the Rashba. Afilu kim lo rocha v'chut lo yachoti la'tzet chutz min hachol. What did that mean? At she'olet oti, you are asking me. Pretend like this is a conversation going on, right? You're asking me, Shema shavakti midah ba'olam. Perhaps I've left back a midah in the world. I've left a trait in the world, meaning I didn't fix one of them. I didn't fix one of my character traits. That I still haven't fixed it yet. Know my friend. This person is saying to his other friend, who's completely removed from all the tavot, just with one thread of hair, he's involved with one tava, meaning he's removed from everything of physicality in this world, all this world, except for one thing, one tiny thing, one hair's breadth of a thing. But his friend is saying, I'm the worst of the worst. I'm like the lowest of the low. I'm sunken in all the tavot. What did he say? I'm sunken in and deep within all the desires of this world. And I still haven't gone from the chol, the mundane, to holiness, the thread of a hair. It's the exact opposite. This man has destroyed, the other man destroyed everything except for one thread. Meaning he destroyed every desire in this world except for one thread he hasn't fixed. And this other person, his friend, is saying, I'm sunken in all this thing except for one thing I made it fixed. But everything else I'm destroyed in. Like I'm taken by the Yitzhak or whatever it is. Look what he says. ועדיין לא יצאתי מן החול על הקודש אפילו כמלאכות, וודאי מי שהוא במדרגה הזאת, and it's certain one who's on the level that I am on, meaning I'm still desiring all the worst things, בוודאי לדבר, certain שאי אפשר לו לבוא לבחינות עיבור. It's certain that he cannot renew his soul. In this idea that we talked about, that the tzaddik rectifies the souls with merkava, that we talked about, right? That he brings it up and renews it and brings it down. It's certain that this soul cannot happen, that this soul cannot be like repaired like this. The afat pichen, and even so, puk chazi gevuchta demarach. Come and see the strength of your master. Meaning what? Hanu koach chacham, the strength of the tzaddik, the wise person. Shekol kach kocho chazak, that his strength is so strong. Shafilu nefesh sheli he'ela bibur, even my soul, he did it. Even the soul that's completely sunken in all the tavot in the world and still hasn't fixed the thinness of this paper cloth right now, even that soul, he does it, and he does this reparation. Whereas even the tzaddik, who's completely removed from all the tavot in this world, but he still has a drop of something he didn't fix, he can't do it.
What about all the people who, just randomly, people who are, for example, like they don't really, it's like those people who like, they have a Jewish mom, but Chaz v'shalom, like not a Jewish dad, and they grow up completely religious, and like they completely like, go off completely, like, Rebbe Nathan takes care of them too.
He will, of course. He's going to fix all the neshama. How? We don't know. We don't know the case of every situation.
But like maybe like you could say for those people that they only like to fix the thing that they needed to fix, they needed to be placed in that circumstance.
For sure. Everything...
Everybody's like that. That's a scary thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like these poor 45 people that died.
Yeah.
They all met their...
The creator.
Yeah. I mean, we know that.
By the tzaddik.
Yeah, but in their last lifetime, they were probably the highest of the highest souls.
Yeah.
For sure, to pass away at a tzaddik like that.
Ooh.
I just heard Rabeinu, I spoke to him today. He knew 6 of them.
He knew 6 people.
He said the 2 boys that died are in a shiva with his son. He knew them very well. And he knew one guy he used to make it every day with.
Who is it?
My friend, a friend of mine. He knew like 6 very well. Like one of them, like, it's terrible. I mean,
They knew Nishmat, all the 45 Nishamat, and Donnie Morris, right?
Mm.
His name is Nachman, I saw.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
His name is Nathan?
Yeah.
his name is Nachman.
And he passed away by Rabbi Shimon.
I'm not even going to try to understand what that means.
Yeah.
Rabbi Shimon's doing that to their soul. That's Rabbi Shimon.
They're pretty much like.
This inyan that Rabeinu is explaining, Rabbi Shimon's doing that to them. I mean, he doesn't need to bring them back down because they're studying the yeshiva of Rabbi Shimon right now.
I think 2 of them already, or I don't know where all of them got buried, but I know for sure 2 of them got buried right next to Rabbi Shimon.
It is good. So we see here there's this inyan. The tzaddik can do this surgery to the lowest of souls, all of us. And yet the biggest tzaddik today, because who can say that they're completely removed from every tava? Who can say that? Who can say they're completely removed from every single tava? And that's even including honor. Even honor. Which means no one can say that. Because even the Arizal said in his passing, save me from honor. Even the Baal Shem Tov, a few hours before he passed, he brought the pasuk in Tehillim, Al tevueni regel gava. Don't come to me the foot of pride. To come to show you that if these tzaddikim are worried about gava, there's really only one who can really take care of this. It's like the Rabbi Shimon, the Baal Shem Tov, the Ari, Rabeinu specifically. Rabeinu does this for all the neshamot. There's only one.
Rabeinu specifically said he was higher than everybody. He said, what I can do, nobody does. I don't have one trace even on my leg, anywhere in my body, of anything, pride, honor, nothing. He goes, I'm free like I'm not. He said, I can be near a woman, and I see a man or a woman, it makes no difference to me.
I think Rabeinu, when he was a kid, he went to Uman, traveling to Uman, and he was with his mother, Fega, and they were staying at an inn. We know back then there was lots of prostitution, not good things going on. He slept on one of the beds at night, and the mother asked him after waking up in the morning, how did your sleep go? You know how Rabeinu responded? He said it went terribly. I was fighting with a Satan the entire night because a woman had slept there previously. This was Rabeinu when he was a kid, by the way.
He wrote Sefer Hamidot when he was 6.
He started, I think, when he was 6. He finished like 13 or something like that.
Still-
It's insane.
What were we doing at 13?
But all of it is verses from the Gemara. Everything. He was Baki Beshas at the age of 13. Baki, like knew it by heart.
Crazy.
He said he finished at the age of 13. He finished Shulchan Aruch on all 4 levels. Pshat, Remez, Drash, and Sod. Shulchan Aruch. I barely understand less than I understand 5% of the words. It's it's unbelievable with poskim, everything. So we see Rabeinu's level. It's not just it's mesirut nefesh to the point. It's real sacrifice. So what are we saying? How big is this inyan that even Rabeinu to us? Look how good our Rebbe is. Puk chazi, what does it say? Like, come see the strength of your master. That's even us, people like us. We can do ibur when the biggest tzaddikim can't, because they're not connected to the tzaddik.
What's Ibur?
We can renew our soul.
What's that?
It's like the renewal, like
The renewal of the soul. We're brought down the Torah of Mashiach. We have the Torah of Mashiach. But no one else can. Unless you're connected to the tzaddik. They can do this.
Don't tell other people.
Yeah, God forbid. But whoever's going to see this YouTube is going to see it. So, this video. Baruch Hashem, we don't have the words of Rabeinu. Rabeinu had whoever will come, you know. But Baruch Hashem, we're very lucky. It's a gift. Yeah, but it's a big gift. We can't God forbid blame other people because we are in the same position. When you come to the tzaddik first time, you have all these questions and stuff. But when Rabeinu chooses you, it's, you know. So Rabeinu has a plan where slowly you'll start to see the world becoming more blessed. The world will come closer to Rabeinu, will come closer to Hashem. But Rabeinu said, now that I'm in the world, before the tzaddik came to the world, people could come close to Hashem without him. But now that tzaddik Ahmet is here, he has to come. A person can only serve Hashem with a tzaddik. He said, now that I'm here, I even took a picture of it. Want me to read it for you guys?
It's like people used to attain like the levels that we would attain with Rebbe Nathan, just through like Gemara and stuff, and through Halacha.
Yeah, Emunah. Not Rabenu's level, but yeah, you're right. The big tzaddikim.
Like, just like
simple Emunah, yeah. Big time.
Today, like it's very hard.
Look what he writes in Likutei Moharan I. Yeah, you're right, totally. One time Rabeinu spoke to me, Rebbe Nathan, about an idea. It's impossible to be an upright person, true, in truth, be'emet, a truthful, upright person, be'emet, like he's saying in truth, you cannot do this, unless you come to the tzaddik ha'emet of the generation. He answered and he said, before the tzaddik was found in the world, you can come to Hashem on your own. But now that the tzaddik has entered the world, he's here. You cannot truly come to Hashem in truth whatsoever, if not, unless you come and you merit to come to the tzaddik Emet. He said in this language, and he says in Yiddish, and he continues, and I have a beautiful, beautiful conversation, a wonderful idea about this. And if Hashem wants me to, wills me to speak about this, I'll explain this in another place. But he basically explains that the tzaddik ha'emet, we have to come to the tzaddik. There's no other way. And it's a hard reality because imagine when we first started off, we had all these questions. Why do we have to do the tzaddik? Why does Rabeinu speak about himself like this, that? But it's all our gava getting in the way. And the second you begin to let go and you begin to see that we don't know things.
It's like Rebbe Nathan, or even how he's talked about himself.
No, I'm saying how we react to the fact that we think these things. It's our gava. It's like our arrogance getting in the way from actually accepting the humility of the tzaddik. Being we have questions, we think we understand the way things are. But we're so entrenched in the tavot, it's like we're asleep, we don't even realize it. We think we know things, we think we can explain the Torah, we think we can explain this. So the default of all this right here.
It's our gava thing that we think that Rabbi Nachman has gava.
Totally, because we think a tzadik. When Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says, "I need tzadik yesod olam," and only me upon the world stands only upon me,
And my son.
but he said, even if my son isn't upright, then I'm enough.
Yeah.
Gava, chas v'shalom. Look at the Gemara, many instances. Even look at Sotah and stuff like that, where the tzaddikim, they say, don't say that yirat chet, fear of sin, stopped to exist because I'm still here. Don't say that humility ceased to exist because I'm still here. We don't understand what it means. But there's deep, deep things about this, and we just have to understand we don't know anything. This is why the essence is, Rabeinu said, bipshitut. Take whatever you can from the Torah, because no one understands this book. Rabeinu said the only way you can understand a drop of my teachings is if you know all of Likutei Moharan in normal order, forward and backward, by heart. So
it's
panim ve'achoris, right? Like forward and backward, I think. What?
So it's impossible.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. He said the Mashiach is going to be the next one. So we wait for that. But Baruch Hashem, we have teachings like this to keep us happy, because this is the Ikar. The Mashiach is going to be studying this. So where are we at? This is the idea of Shavuot and Atzeret, which is the idea of gathering and collecting. Which is what? Whenever the tzaddik gathers the neshamot and collects the neshamot, and with this, with this you create Shavuot. Why? Because what's Shavuot? Matan Torah. Kabbalah Torah, we receive the Torah. And what's a tzaddik? Whenever he gathers the souls, ascends them, what does he bring it down with? Torah of the Mashiach. So this is Matan Torah. וזה בחינת פסח שקודם לשבועות שהוא הכנה לקבלת התורה בשבועות. This is the aspect of Pesach which is before Shavuot, which is a preparation for receiving the Torah on Shavuot. This is Pesach. כי פסח הוא בחינת אברהם איש החסד, because Pesach represents Avraham, the man of chesed. שזה בחינת רוח נדיבה בחינת צדקה. This is the spirit of generosity, the aspect of tzedakah. Because what's Pesach about? We were redeemed not because of our own merit, not because of our own work, but because simply Hashem promised. That's chesed. We didn't deserve anything. Hashem just redeemed us just because He told us to. He told us He was going to. That's Pesach, which is the aspect of tzedakah. She'al yadam mishabrin ta'avat mammon. And what tzedakah do? It breaks the desire for money, as we talked about. And whenever you break the desire for money, you become this wise person that can connect the neshamot, right? And bring it up and descend it. Which means what?
What do you mean breaking Tava for money completely?
Yeah.
That's...
He says it's really
that
hard.
literally goes against like this entire world, right?
I think Rabeinu said it was the hardest one for him to do. Out of all the 3 tavot.
Really?
I think he said it was the hardest one.
Money?
Of course.
Wow.
He talks about it.
Right?
I even think there's a lesson where he says that when Mashiach comes, money won't exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Money won't exist.
So what's it gonna be?
The currency of the
provide,
world
bro.
will be prayer. Will be prayer. Will be tzedek, justice. That's why they say only through justice, Mashiach, Yerushalayim will be crowned Mashiach when all the people are going to give their money. Everybody's going to be. They're not going to want money, maybe, because
Wow.
you're going to see that it's not. Just give it away. Give it to tzedakah, because it's not the truth.
Wow.
Falsehood. The whole world is falsehood.
Yeah.
It's not the truth. What you see with your eyes is not the truth.
For sure.
If you're, listen, don't speak to me. I need to work on that too. Everybody does.
But it's LA in general.
Yeah, we live like, here, everybody's
Everything's
pressured.
run by money.
Literally, exactly. The whole world is run by money now.
Yeah, big time. Especially here. Hollywood, everything's fake. That's why it's funny, like you'll find like very famous people. Like I heard this somewhere, but like you see like very famous people, whenever they reach like a certain like high point, they'll either be turn extremely depressed, and they'll turn to a random religion. Like you'll see very like
That's true.
Christianity, whatever, but they'll find like their false meaning, whatever, and they'll connect to it. But everyone does it. You see it with, like, for example, Kanye West, like you saw, like he has his own like run. He's going on.
It's not the truth. People think it's a.
They're enlightened by something, but it's completely fake. They're enlightened by it.
It's about it a lot.
It's
You told them where their master was.
Marshall, you said it last week. You were saying that when you want to be under the rulership of this world, of the government, then you have to make a a living, but if you're under the rulership of the Torah and then the Torah will make a miracle and find a guy to help you or
Sure.
make a deal for you, and you could study Torah. Like the Or Chaim, he was a goldsmith, but he would make a little bit of money and then he would go study Torah. He worked. All of a sudden, he came work.
That's how it used to be.
Yeah,
You used
they
to be
worked
like work
even
2
in
hours
Morocco.
and learn 6.
In Morocco, I remember like when I went there when I was a little kid, my grandfather would tell me like in Morocco that they would work a little bit, that generation, like the old generation, and they would work a little and they would study.
Wow.
That's crazy.
They would spend their afternoons. It's not like today where people, it's crazy.
But it's
to me.
the
This
opposite.
is insanity to people. need
Running for money.
So much money to live and the
Exactly.
schools, like 50,000, crazy. These people are nuts, all of them. We're all nuts.
It's all sheker.
It's all a lie. The schools of business. I mean, you should have turned this on. I don't want people to hear.
No, it's fine. This
It's
is
a
the ikar.
business, man. Are you kidding me?
No, no, you are.
What?
No, no, you
The
are.
guys want 30,000. I'm telling you, you think that's the truth?
Of course it is. You're totally spot on. Everyone's
Yeah,
running
that's
to get
why we
rich.
go to Israel. I mean, it's a truth there. There's no truth here. That's a punishment. I also believe that we live here in the Galut. Hashem tells us, okay, you want to live here? No problem.
You're right.
Yeah, you want to live here? You want to live in Israel?
It's the price.
Yeah,
You
it's
don't
good.
make as much, but you live good.
It's a price you have
You're
to
right.
pay to
Yeah,
be
you,
that
want, and you can't have it both ways. You can't like Rebbe Nathan said. Rebbe Nathan, he says it in those letters, letters.
Alim Nitrufa.
Yeah, he says it. He tells his son, like he loved his son. He would tell him every time, "You'll never make it in this world." He goes, "If you think you're gonna be like comfortable or like this world," he says, "is unattainable. It's like you can't make it." He goes, "If you have money, you'll suffer in another way." He goes, "This world is all suffering and suffering." He says, "The ultimate goal is the world to come. That's all. So everything you go through is eventually to make it to the world to come."
Wow.
So if you look at this world like, okay, I'm just living here.
The
I'm
capacity.
like the couple times I have my back where he's ready to go ready for the Michelle to come, ready to go to the next world. I'm not here like I'm planning. I'm so comfortable. Okay, I'm here. I have to be here. That's it. But it's not like the ultimate goal. But it's hard, man. I'm saying this. I'm talking to myself. Like, how can we live here? It's so hard because we're raised the wrong way.
But everyone is raised like that. Yeah.
I know.
I think only
Everyone's
Rabeinu.
going
It's
through-
only Rabeinu. When you come to Rabeinu, you realize all this, but
yeah, exactly.
it's very difficult because
Yeah.
the world runs on this. They
Yeah.
even go to Israel. Look at the government. It's
Yeah.
hakol ze sheker.
Yeah.
Only when you come to Rabeinu, you begin to see the emet.
You're
Emet
flawed.
lamito. You're flawed. Yeah, you're exactly that. When you come to Rabeinu, Rabeinu is a mirror. I always have to say that because it's so true.
Yeah.
When you come to tzadik,
You
you're a mirror. You feel shame for who
guys
you are.
went to Uman?
Yeah.
Wow.
We're all going. Bezrat Hashem in 10 days.
You felt like
Less.
you got hit with obstacles when you came back?
Yeah, definitely. Like
You got a little sick?
it was the heart.
Who got a little
lot of
sick?
people get a little sick. when they go-
Mentally.
No, people that make fun you catch a cold. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It's probably
I think I faced one of the most challenging tabot in my life
yeah.
when I came back. It was insane.
See that's right there. A sign that's beautiful.
Rabeinu's doing surgery.
Yeah.
That's where it is, the second you come to the tzaddik, the work begins. And the beginning of the work is undoing everything that you built. Because everything you built is just built on eggshells. It's built on threads. There's no foundation. Everything is built wrong. All our tavot, the way we grew up in life, the way we think things, the way we think we know things. This is the beauty of this book and Likutei Halachot and Likutei Moharan I. The second you open up this book, you begin to realize how little you know. So this is why I don't like calling this class a class or a shiur, because the truth is, I know just as much as you guys. Literally. Because this is infinite, this book. Look what Rebbe Nathan writes in the introduction of Likutei Moharan I. He writes, this book has all of Tanakh, all the Gemara and the Poskim, all the writings of the Ari, all the Zohar Kadosh, all Pardes in this book. Likutei Moharan I. Everything. And I think I know something. I don't even know what the first word of the Torah, even if I think it's da or ashrei, I don't know it's ashrei. Because the truth is, I think something's clear, but I'm living in an illusion. I have no idea what this is. The ikar is just to take things bipshitut. That's what Rabeinu wrote. Rabeinu said, I perceive these at levels thousands and tens of thousands levels higher than the way I gave these, than the way you guys perceive them. To the point where he said, I gave you my scraps, my psolet. So this is the book we're discussing, but the beauty of it is I'm comfortable not knowing. I'm so happy not knowing because now I understand, okay, now that I don't know, give me all that I can take because I know I'm broken.
And that's the total opposite of what we're taught.
Yeah.
We live in a society where we're taught, oh, get a degree and like be proud. My son, I'm so proud of you.
Be a billionaire.
And you know what I've learned? You know what I've learned from like Rabeinu?
Be a doctor.
It's not important about accomplishment. Accomplishment, it's not about learning.
Yeah.
It's about being who you are, who the real you is. Like living up to your potential.
Yeah.
Not Moshe, you to be you, to be the best version of you. Whatever your Jewish name is.
Who'd you learn that from?
Rabeinu was my teacher, and Chaim Kramer said it. You heard it. He's talked about it. There was a guy who asked him a question. He told him. The guy wanted some guy was here and he wanted him to tell him what he wanted, and Chaim Kramer kept telling him the truth.
You have to figure out yourself.
Yeah, but you have to be yourself. If you want that man, you have to be who you are.
It's like the Zusha story, no?
Yeah, exactly. Say it, go.
No.
It's chizuk, we have to say it. You can't hide something.
I'm not hiding anything.
זה לא טוב.
I'm not hiding anything, bro. I kind of forgot it.
What do you mean? Yeah, Rezusha Vanipot. Ari, give the story, okay, as if you don't know, go.
I think it's like whenever. I'm gonna say like whatever I remember, but I think he's like about to pass away. And like, what was he? He was like trembling or something? He was
Yeah.
really scared. He was like really, really scared, and they came up to him. He's like, what happened? He's like, what are you scared of? He's like, I think he's like, why? He's like, you're going to see like the master or whatever. And then he's like, yeah, but I'm scared. I'm not scared like they're gonna ask me like, why weren't you like more like Moshe Rabeinu or like Amram Avinu? He's like, I'm scared they're gonna ask me like, why was it more like Zusha?
Oh, I don't know.
It was like crazy.
It's amazing.
But that's just like so comforting because you don't have to. Your goal in life is not to become the next Moshe Rabeinu. You know,
Yeah.
you could, but that's not the goal. It's to be the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
Bro, you can become Moshe Rabbeinu, but it won't be called Moshe Rabbeinu. Become Ari Yochanan.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Zara Sham,
No, I'm
bro.
saying.
I
Zara
think
Sham.
every day.
Delete.
No, but the point is, the reason why it's not likely, I won't say it's unlikely, God forbid. The reason why
You can say that.
because we don't believe in ourselves as much. The second you begin to believe in yourself, all of this, you begin to start fresh. You know why Rabeinu was the person he was today? Because he said, I could do the worst sin in the Torah, and I'll still be the same tzadik.
Because he renewed himself.
Because no matter what happens in life, forget what happens. Yes, you regret what happened, but still be the same person you are. Even if you do the worst sin, God forbid. Continue to be the same person, and then after repair. But never lose hope, because the second you lose hope, you begin to forget your identity, for who you are, how you can really attain who you are. That's what it is. Why is the worst sin Yeush? Yeush is the worst sin. Seriously, it is. Because when you give up, you begin to lose everything. Everything you will ever do will only result because of the fact that you're depressed and you don't think you can do it.
So true.
It's funny. I know people. It's true. People get divorced, then they get or they lose their job or something bad happens to them, they get depressed. The whole world is depressed. When you go to I'm not trying to be funny. You go to the doctor's office, they're giving millions of pills out to people because they're.
I don't know if you have Instagram or something or TikTok, but everyone, it's the new trend.
What is it?
Depression.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks it's cool to be depressed today.
I don't know.
Everyone's depressed. Everyone's
The young
depressed.
kids.
Young kids are all depressed.
Well, that I understand. I can understand why they're depressed.
But it's like a
The
a
system is
trend.
broken.
It's a trend.
Everything's...
It's a trend to be
Yeah.
depressed.
Yeah.
It's like,
Wow.
it's like,
Everyone,
What,
and then like
20-year-olds right? 20.
yeah, and then all
Younger
the,
even.
even younger, like 16, 15, and then all the stars, like what, or other famous, other famous people, they're like, yeah, I have bipolar issues, I'm half the time depressed. Like, we don't care what you are. You know, you're just saying that because you want to say that because you want to be famous.
No, but I'm gonna tell you. You know why? You see, I'm crazy. I'm gonna tell you. This is all happening because Rabeinu is drawing these people.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm with
The
you.
goyim are. Okay, I know it sounds crazy. He's drawing the world. Hashem is constantly drawing us closer to the truth, right? So we believe that Rabeinu is. He's the last thing. He clearly said he's not like. And he said, look, Hollywood. What do they do? What is Hollywood known for? They got my breed. So you think they're? Imagine you're Jewish and you do. Imagine these going what they do. You know the damage they cause in the whole world. So you don't think it's gonna catch up to them? And then what? So when they want to fix it, they don't know where to go. How much drugs? How much alcohol? How much can they use? Sooner or later, look with this COVID. Hashem took away their money. Soon, when they have nothing, they're gonna have to come to spirituality because there's no other outlet. They're not gonna go to what's the Christian. They're gonna come to the Jews because they see we're people that are like. It makes sense. We run Hollywood, but even the Jews that are far. Why do you think? I believe that Rebbe Nathan in the last 3 months of his life, you know, it's a story that he was with these people that were the Maskilim. He hung out with them, and he was playing with them. And Rebbe Nathan and Rebbe Naftali came to him, and they didn't understand why he was talking to them. And he told Rebbe Nathan and Naftali, why?
Yeah.
He said the way I deal with these people is not the way I deal with you. And he was playing with them.
Chess, yeah.
Yeah, he was with them but I think that was a hint. That was a hint that he was gonna rectify all these souls, all of them. It's not just that's what people think Mashiach is only for the Jews, it's for everybody. It's not just us.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you think it's why do you think all these people in Houston and these what are they called? I forgot what they're called. There's these Christians. There's more non-Jews that believe it. No, there's more non-Jews that believe Rebbe Nathan than the Jews. Yeah.
Well,
I forgot. There's this rabbi who has a lot of them, and he has a lot of followers of them.
Really?
Oh, the Noahites.
Oh, yeah.
Those guys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
They're goyim that follow the 7 laws of Noah.
yeah, but they love Rebbe Nathan.
Wow.
Yeah, they love him.
Bro, I was talking to Yosef, Rav Ifra, the rabbi we went to.
Yeah,
Oh,
he was
yeah,
saying
he loves
that.
DC.
You know how many viewers he has from Africa and from
He
places
said-
that
he
are
says
Muslim, Christian, whatever it is,
Yeah.
and they do it Bolut. And they come to Uman.
Bro, they
There's
comment
a few
on his
Muslims that
videos.
come to Uman.
He says it like they comment, random people comment on his videos. It's just so amazing.
But you see the prophecy coming to life. Rabeinu said, yeah,
They're Jewish souls. They're from the lost tribes.
there's lots of
There's 100
inyanim.
million Jews. What do you think? There's not 16 million Jews. There's probably 100.
There's lots.
You know, the Rabbi Lona Nava said the same thing.
What do you say? 100?
He said the same thing. He said there's probably 100 million Jews. Just don't know it.
Rabeinu said even the goyim need me. Even the goyim need me. He says,
I feel like
obvious.
I feel like they need him like the most.
oh yeah. No, it's
I
funny.
know, it's like both. It goes both.
Yeah,
ways.
yeah.
That's why I was.
No, but I see what you're saying. It's funny because he says, it's obvious, you my students, you guys need me.
Yeah, obvious.
It's obvious that the Jews need me. But don't forget, even the goyim need me.
I feel like it's even more obvious for them because they have nothing.
And he also said something else. He said, he told Rebbe Nathan, you have to get the big shots. Because when the big shots come,
Then everyone comes.
exactly.
Yeah, you get the influential people.
Yeah.
The people with money,
Yeah.
the people with lots of power and influence. He says, work on those people.
Bro, the people with the biggest names you have to get. Because then everyone will follow. That's how it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah. Oh, you're going there. Oh, I'm going to go too.
What?
Even, I'm saying,
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
how
yeah.
they look at it.
Of course.
They don't look at it like, oh, well, we love it, but they'll just go, but that's good enough. Because they can't even get to that level. But that's good enough. For some people, you have to almost like drag them.
Definitely.
But that's okay.
Totally. You know what? It's so funny. This is, I think, the most beautiful Torah. Like when you see how we stopped reading for 15 minutes and we just go into a random discussion, but from the Lev, that's everything Rabeinu was about. Everything Rabeinu was about is just that idea of stopping the book, putting the book aside, and actually seeing how the book means something according to what's happening now. Because Rabeinu didn't speak, Rabeinu said every word that I speak, a testament to the past, the present, the future, Tchiat HaMetim, the Mashiach, and the world to come. Every word. So when people say, when Rabeinu said, don't, for everything, whatever it is, don't do this, don't do that, or with doctors, this, that, you think he was speaking about his time, or he was speaking about much later. You don't think he saw COVID, you don't think he saw vaccines, you don't think he saw everything that was happening. He saw everything. He even wrote down, Rebbe Nathan even wrote down the day the Mashiach would come, the second he would come, and it's written in a call.
In the bird book.
Yeah, it's called Megillat Starim. You heard of this?
Yeah.
The hidden scroll.
But how about the book Hanis
Hanisraf, it speaks about a different inyan there.
C'est la chance à
What's the book?
I
when
think
he
that's
told his
Ganuz.
follower to burn before
Oh,
they-
Ganuz?
He warned them. He goes, "You better burn it." What?
Sefer Hanisraf. Sefer Hanisraf.
I thought Nisraf was about.
The burnt book.
I thought that was about Achnasat
How about Sefer?
Maybe that. I think Sefer Ganuz was about Achnasat Orchim or Sefer Hanisraf. I don't know which
No,
one.
so what's the other one then?
Sefer Ganuz is a book about, I don't know, it didn't really explain.
Nobody understood.
It says nobody saw
Is it actually hidden? Who hid it?
Rabeinu. No one looked
Where
at
is
it.
it?
No one looked at Sefer Ganuz.
It's possible to
He
find.
hid one of them in his daughter's drawer.
And he
Bro.
left it. No, what I heard, someone
No way.
gave it to a follower, and then I don't know where it went until the 1900s.
Sefer Ganuz?
No, the one of that, maybe not that, but another.
I think Megillat Starim you might be talking about. The
Yeah.
inyan of the Mashiach,
That's
how
Megillat
everything is
Starim.
gonna unroll.
Yeah,
Rabbi Nathan wrote everything, secreted, written down in Rashi Tevot. Saba talks about it. Rabbi Saba talks about it. He says, "Kol Rabeinu Amar, Rabeinu Amar Kol." And he spoke about everything.
He told Rabbi Nathan, the Mashiach, he asked him, he said he'll be like this.
His parents are gonna be kacha kacha.
Like, not like a normal
I. His parents are gonna be so.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna think the Mashiach is gonna come from Charedim, this, that. The parents are
On
gonna
a
be.
white horse.
Oy vavoy.
He said
Rabeinu
that-
speaks about a kid
He's coming
named
from
Mashiach.
Vegas.
But these are different
Sounds like
secrets
the
that are
Advent
passed down. I'm not
Twilight
gonna.
Thing about to pop out.
They speak about the Mashiach being very, very young. But I'm not gonna say
Very
anything.
what?
Young, extremely young.
Wow, like a kid.
Yeah, like 5-6 years
But he's
old.
4 years old.
Alright, he's
But-
gonna be spitting Hidushim. They're going like
This is Megillat Starim. Megillat Starim is written in Rashi Tevot. The last person who died with it, they say, who knew inyanim about the Megillah, about this hidden scroll and how to uncode it, was Rabbi Avraham Rav Nachman. But
Who was
some
that?
say Rabbi
Rabbi
Israel
Nathan
got his
Sidi?
hands on it.
What?
Rabbi Israel Dovod Eser.
No.
Some say that he knew a lot about it. When people ask him about the Mashiach, you see his reaction. He starts laughing.
I'm
and
sure
laughing.
Yeshayahu knows.
He starts laughing.
Moshe, I'm sure Yeshayahu knows.
No, no one knows how to understand it because it's
No,
written
I'm
in
saying,
like
I'm sure Yeshayahu knows about if Saba or the other guy. Whatever his name is.
What? Rabbi Avraham Rav Nachman.
No, yeah. Shushan.
Yaakov Shushan. About what? About this Megillah?
No, if Saba
Knew about it?
got his hands on it.
I'm sure. Yeah, we can
It was his
ask him.
Shamash, no? That was a
His
Shamash.
dad. I want Pats. It was his shemash, but
Did he pass away?
But
he passed away on the way to Uman.
You know, we'll know.
No way. On like a boat?
No, like a plane.
Who?
I think they took him off the stretcher.
That's intense.
Aaron Pats, the shamash of Rabbi Israel,
Oh.
the one who like found him in the old age home.
Passed away. On
Who brought him to the mikveh? Yeah, Aaron Pats. Yeah,
His son is
mamash
over-
tzadik. This person.
What'd you say?
His son's
He's
here.
American, right?
Where?
Huh?
Aaron Potts is an American guy.
Aaron, I
What?
think so. I'm not sure.
Saba's
He's here?
Yaakov Shushan?
No, Aaron Pats.
Oh no. Oh, I thought Yaakov Shushan was his son.
Yeah, Maurice Shushan was the one who was with Saba.
Oh,
A different French person.
Never mind.
But we have people that were a lot with Saba. You see their stories about him, like the way he.
Dude, Uzon
Everything
grew
was for
up with
Rabeinu.
him, no?
Everything. Yeah, Uzon grew up with him. His dad was very close to Saba.
A lot of these.
Didn't he
These French people,
massage Saba's feet, Shushan?
Yaakov used to. The person that comes to study here, like Dan, you see him around with the peot. He used to massage Saba's feet.
Wow.
No
I think
way.
so. Deep inanim, we're talking about a person who got a petek, from Rabeinu. So there's lots of things going on here. But
I get there's some people who are breasted, but we're not really like. Nana.
it is what it is. Rabeinu said, "Ani e'eseh mikem kitot kitot." I'm gonna make from you. What?
I'm not.
Yeah, it is what it is.
I love you guys.
Yeah. Look, Rabeinu said, "I'm gonna make of you guys groups."
Yeah.
That's it.
He said that?
Yeah.
You don't believe in the Vedek?
I didn't say that.
No, because I'm like curious to see.
I don't know. I'm not at the level to understand these things.
Okay. No,
Yeah,
I
I-
see.
Yeah. Look.
This is a tremendous study.
No, I
I
see.
went to his grave actually. Prayed.
Saba?
No way. You were there?
He was there, so 2000.
Har HaMenochot.
He's very.
Next to Reb Shlomo Karabach.
Oh, listen.
You got Shavuot.
Next to the Chida.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, these are the inyan is everything Saba preached about was Rabeinu. We're coming to the source now. What Rabeinu speaks about, no one can understand. Bipshitut though, That's why Rabeinu wrote it. Rebbe Nathan writes in the beginning, the entire kavanah of why Rabeinu wrote this book was for each and every person to gather advice, to break his tavot and to work on his midot in the most simple things possible. Understand this simply. That's the person who's going to understand at the highest level, because no one's going to understand it. But the person who understands this simply, who takes Torah by Torah, let's say he says, I'm going to spend a month on one Torah, and go in it, and do Likutei Tefillot every single day on it. That's the person who's going to succeed. Because when you do Likutei Moharan, Likutei Tefillot, you're the biggest winner in the entire world. Likutei Moharan without Likutei Tefillot is not Likutei Moharan.
And Kitzur Likutei Moharan.
Kitur is good because it's the summary of how to bring it into action. But nothing can be brought into action unless you pray.
Agreed. It just makes sense though. That's like part of it. That's how you start loot.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
So we see big inyanim. So what did he say? That way we can finish this one piece. Because what did he say? Shavuot is this idea of the tzadik gathering all the neshamot. And what's this idea of gathering all the neshamot? He brings it up and he brings down the Torah of the Mashiach with it. So that the Torah of the Mashiach can illuminate each and every soul according to the level. That's Shavuot, receiving the Torah. But what did we talk about? Before Shavuot comes Pesach, which is what? Preparation for Kabbalat Torah on Shavuot. Preparation for receiving the Torah on Shavuot. Because Pesach is the aspect of Avraham Isha Chesed. Why? Why is Pesach Avraham? Because we didn't earn our redemption. We were given to it as if it was tzedakah, charity. God gave us our redemption as if it was charity. And what's tzedakah? It's what? It's the spirit of generosity, which is what? What does tzedakah do? It breaks your tava for mammon, we talked about earlier. Whenever you break your tava for mammon, what do you receive? You're able to ascend the souls and bring down the souls. But what do you do when you bring down the souls? You bring down the Torah we talked about, a new Torah. So what's tzedakah allow you to do? Allow you to become the person to bring down the Torah. You receive Matan Torah when you give tzedakah and you break your tava completely. This is the aspect of matzah we eat on Pesach. Ki matzah hi b'chinat tzedakah, because matzah is the aspect of tzedakah, as it says in the Gemara in Rabbi Nachman's Torah 57, and another place in Torah 201. He explains how matzah represents tzedakah. And this is why Bnei Israel merited such great possessions when they left Egypt. What did it say? They merited such great holiness of ashirut dikdusha, holy wealth, that they merited by destroying their desire for money. The only way they attained their wealth was because they destroyed it completely. That's why Rabeinu said, I need all the money in the world. But that's a different thing. But what did he say? This is why they merited such holy wealth. Because they destroyed their desire for money completely. As it said in the Pasuk, Semach Zevulun b'tzetecha. Happy is Zevulun when they exit. K'amuvah Sham b'ma'amar Hanar, that explains in lesson 57 there. U'b'ma'amar Tivita Tzedek Edotecha, that says in lesson 23. Sheikar Ashirut Talu B'shvirat Ta'avat Mamon. The essence of wealth. You want real wealth? Whenever you destroy your desire for money. B'shvinat Eze Ashir Hasameach B'chako. Who's the one who's truly wealthy? You want real wealth? One who's happy with his portion. And it says, Semach Zevulun b'tzetecha. Because Zevulun destroyed their tava for Mammon, they were happy. They attained to real wealth.
Was Zevulun the one that worked, or was that it?
Zevulun was the merchant, I think.
Interesting.
Zevulun was the merchant.
Zevulun was the one who studied Torah.
Really?
And no, it's interesting.
So how did
was a merchant
so
and
how
he
did Zevulun break his tava
interesting.
for money? If he worked.
It's a paradox.
It's really weird.
It's a cool paradox.
It's very interesting.
Can we look into Rashi?
It's
Probably says 3 words.
it's very deep.
Baal Hashem.
Yeah, it doesn't help.
But you see,
That would really throw me off.
it's such a powerful
This is
inyan.
good.
This idea.
I understand this well.
No, it says not as well.
We're on stop here.